Hello and welcome to the chart of the month from Silicon Valley Mobility for August 2019. What I want to talk about this month is diesel. Huh? You might be wondering, diesel? Isn't that the thing that's dead? Well, that's what I thought. But also I read a very interesting article this month that makes me consider otherwise it might not be dead, or long live the proclaimed dead. And let's take this step by step here. So what actually was the problem with diesel? There was a diesel scandal that surfaced in 2015, which basically was some mostly German vehicle manufacturers had made fraudulent claims about the nitrogen oxide emissions of their diesel vehicles, which actually resulted in some of the auto executives resigned, some actually were indicted, some of them even went to jail, and class action lawsuits were filed. Diesel sales plummeted. They had been around 30 to 50% in some European countries until then, and then they plummeted 10-20%, if not further. And even some cities then considered banning diesel vehicles from their cities and from their thoroughfares. So much about the diesel. You might think, that's it, diesel is dead. But what actually I read this month is in a very highly regarded German magazine, which is Warum der Diesel ein Comeback erlebt. Or in English, why diesel is headed for comeback. So and what they maintain in there, for one, the problems that the industry had with the nitrogen oxide emissions, basically they are taken care of, no longer a problem. And also in order to reach the very strict carbon dioxide, so the greenhouse gas emission standards, we will need the diesel to meet those. And that's really where I thought, I thought we are going electric now to actually meet these very strict greenhouse gas emission standards. And now we're going back to diesel. So why am I talking about this? Not really because I want to talk about diesel versus gasoline versus hybrids versus battery or maybe even hybrid powertrains. That is part of it. And many of us might think, okay, this is really where we're going. More and more electrification, less and less combustion engines. But really what we see in all of this is that there are very interesting twists and turns, and what was proclaimed dead now might be hailed the solution, at least part of the solution, to mitigate the effects of climate change. And I really want to use this as a reminder, if not a wake-up call. It's really so hard to predict the future. We might see a few data points where we say, aha, I know where it's going. There's really a technology that is no longer viable. Look, companies need to cheat in order to sell those products. And then technology, especially of the existing model, might make a step forward, and then we say, look, the established model will still work somewhat longer. Which really is a big problem here, because that shows the innovator's dilemma, which basically means to continue with the existing model puts you in the dilemma that you're really stuck with it, which is what I really want to talk a little bit more about in the months to come. But for now, I really want to make a call to action here that we really need to be vigilant on the path to the future of mobility, because it is not a straight path to the future. It really takes very unexpected twists and turns, and where we might think, again, we see a few data points and we know electrification is going to go through the roof. Well, be aware that the existing system also still has quite say in this, and there are a lot of interest in that, and there's really some wrestling, arm wrestling going back and forth going on here. And so we cannot just extrapolate from a few data points here. We really have to be aware of all these different interest players and needs that we have for mobility. So with this, I want to discuss this a little bit more over the next months to come. Thanks for watching today, and I really look forward to being back with you in September. Until then, please let me know what you think. Is it dead, or is it part of the solution? Thanks for watching.